Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah. Let's talk about Conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host, and Conversations with Nicole is a talk show based in Tallahassee, Florida, focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Mindset Monday, which is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to chat about whatever it is we want to chat about. And today I have Brother Weser Khufu on with me, the owner of The Whole. I'll talk a little bit about his background, but we are going to talk about the Black Soul. The Black Soul. He has written a pamphlet on the Black Soul, hidden power, truth, light, and fire. But we're going to dive in to talk about Black consciousness and the Black Soul. But before we do, we want to hear from you. We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on my LinkedIn account. And this is an interactive live, so we fully expect to hear from you. Your comments, your questions are welcome. Mindset Monday is all about us being our best self, speaking about mental health and wellness, particularly in Black and Brown communities. And so this topic is very befitting for a Mindset Monday, especially during Black History Month. So if you will, let us know what city, what state are you tuning in from in the comments so we can give you a shout out. We want to, again, engage with you in conversation. And this, again, is a safe space for us to do so. My apologies for our tardiness. We had a little bit of a technical issue, but hopefully we've gotten that all worked out. And we, again, are looking forward to a great conversation tonight. So I see you, Miss Dee Dee in Tallahassee. Thank you for being here. We got Miss Iris here in Tallahassee as well. Thank you for joining us. Miss Melanie Williams in Tally, thank you for joining us as well. If you are new to the space, definitely we encourage you to subscribe to Conversations with Nicole YouTube channel. We are, again, live here on Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, focused on community connection. And yes, Melanie, have heard Khufu on the local radio a lot, and I'm excited to hear about him. Indeed, I actually did a post that had one of his recordings on it, but for whatever reason, the audio did not go through. So I know there's a lot of question because his radio ads or spots or I don't know, what do you call them, Khufu? You'll tell us in a moment, but they are very captivating. They definitely capture your attention. So he's going to talk about that tonight. Miss Patricia Jefferson, thank you for being here, who is also in Tally. We got Miss Donna Beach Wallace, one of my high school classmates in South Florida, and Miss TC Lee in Brundage, Alabama, who is a FAMU alum, and Miss Camille Lewis Tallio. Thank you for joining us, Miss Camille. All right, so others will be joining us, but we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna share some of Brother Khufu's bio. He is one of 9 children, 6 boys, 3 girls. He's a middle child. He was born at FAMU Hospital, and he is a carpenter, a contractor. He was born James Lamar Washington, but changed his name to Weser Khufu back in 1989. In 1980, he was licensed by the state of Florida to operate Pyramid Construction and Design, which is his company. And he also was licensed by the Department of Education to operate Khufu's Chamber School of Master Builders. In 2012, he was nominated by the Tallahassee Democrat and Pace School as Educator of the Year, and has also won awards from the CONA, Council on Neighborhood Association. He's run for public office, specifically Leon County Commission District 1. And he has also written a book entitled A Vision from the Ancient World to Resurrect the Black Community Today, a vision of self-governance by the people. And so he and I have had many conversations around the Black community and what some of the ills of the Black community and some of the potential solutions of the Black community. So we're gonna dive into this. And again, your comments and questions are welcome. So y'all help me welcome Brother Weser Khufu. Yay!
Good afternoon, everyone.
What's going on, Brother Khufu?
Uh, just trying to get the job done, trying to enlighten us on who we are and trying to change the direction and the consciousness of the Black community.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. All right. Well, so glad you are here with us, the voice behind the radio spots. I'm going to have you talk about that in just a little bit, but I see a few more folks I want to recognize. My mother is on down in Miami. Thank you for being here with us, Mom. We got Brother Joseph Ward on with us here in Tallahassee on the Shoulders of Giants. Miss Tracy Golay here in Tallahassee. My godmom is Gloria Sellers in Brooklyn, and Miss Brittany. Thank you for being here, Miss Brittany. So, Khufu, you have watched the show, and you know I'm going to ask you this. Who is Weser Khufu? Not what you do, but who are you? Let us know.
Well, if I told you who I was, I have to tell you in the spirit of my ancestors, in the spirit of the Black community, uh, I am the one who took the first breath of air and made the first footprint in Mother Earth. I am the one who marched down the Nile, creating civilizations upon civilizations. I am the one who created math, science, astronomy, astrology, farming, government, religion, and much more. I am the one who built the pyramid and made my woman a queen. I am the one who is rooted in Africa and whose seeds cover Mother Earth. I am the one with the strength and the power, the knowledge and the wisdom, the vision with the mission to move the Black community into a new era of unity, respect, and prosperity. That's who I am.
All right. Well, very good. Well, thank you for sharing that. So, tell us a little bit about the ads that you have been putting out on the radio here in Tallahassee, because I know folks are kind of curious about that.
Well, I'm in the fourth quarter of my life,
Mm,
and I look at all the people who sacrificed for us to be here today. I look at my mother and father, and a lot of people paid the ultimate with their life. And when I look at where we are now, it's really sad. I look
mm,
at the land, we're losing all our land. We look from Frenchtown to Smoky Hollow to Rat Row, all those areas I had relatives in. And you look at it today, it's all I'm gone. All our memories and all the people that struggled and sacrificed for us to be where we are today. We don't even think about them. We don't
mm,
have the fight that they had. And I just don't care. I mean, I care, but I don't care about the opposition because they aren't doing anything. Our leadership, they're getting a check, but what are they doing? You know, I just look at how, like, the city through eminent domain, they're taking all our property. When our kids And when our kids and our kids' kids get old enough, they could be a giant in pharmacy, a giant in construction, a giant in all the industries, but they won't have anywhere to operate, don't have no land. And they'll be paying a lot of their income out just to operate their business. You know, it's so much that's going on. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
So so these things that you are mentioning is why you put the messages out that you did.
Yes, that's why I put them out. And I'm looking for people to realize and start looking at just what's going on to wake the people up and
Mm.
let them take action. You know, it's me just speaking out. Eventually, they'll just ignore me if they don't see the mass really asking the same question and demanding more for their tax dollars, demanding more for doing what's right, making wrong right. For the people, for the black community. You know, black communities is really getting the shafts. And nobody's saying, most people think, well, ain't nothing we could do, you know, they're going to do what they want to do. No, not long as I have life in me. I'm keep challenging. And when you challenge them, it's a lot of issues I challenge to sit on, but nobody know about them, but I won against them. And like
Mm.
the pollution of the lake down there. Uh, I went and I brought that property. I went and approached the engineer and I asked him why y'all dumping water in that lake. It's already holding pond. I said, no, it's not. That's a natural lake. We fished in it when we were kids. And
Mm-hmm.
they wanted to make a closed basin because we were having trouble with flooding south of Ridge Road. And
Mm-hmm.
they took when Seaboard gave that property to Gulf Wind Track Club, they took it was an overflow pipe. They took it out, and they literally tried to make that a closed basin to handle water, the trouble we were having water back with water in the 90s.
Gotcha. So the space that you're speaking of is what we call the hole, which is, I believe,
Right,
3030 South Adams Street.
right, right.
Okay. So talk to us a little bit about the hole, what it is, and what your plans are for it.
Well, originally I was on campus. We owned the Foot Hilly building.
Mm-hmm.
They took it from us through eminent domain, and they built the pharmacy building there. So I've always wanted property with water on it, and when I uh, looked at that property, it was a jungle, and I remember trying to crawl down through there off of Adams Street, and when
Mm-hmm.
I got there, I realized it was a natural lake. It had grown up since I was a kid and stuff, but I went ahead and purchased it, and I wanted to have something for the black community. I wanted to make the place uh, a PowerPoint because it's located in the heart of the black community.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted somewhere that we could produce food, grow crops, raise fish, and it's really about to the point that we're going to open up. Hopefully, we could open it up uh, by the end of this month here. I said I was
Okay.
going to take Black History Month and make that my goal to finalize this phase of what we're doing there.
Okay. So tell me about the Black Soul.
The black soul is really who we are. It's a natural order for how our culture, how our civilization evolved. The black soul, and I say this, our flesh is free, but our
Mm.
souls are still trapped in the cages, chains, and shackles of colonization, slavery, racism. We really don't know who we are.
Mm.
And our umbilical cord has been severed from hundreds of thousands of years on who we are. When I
Mm-hmm.
started, I said, we are the ones who took the first breath of air. We are the origin of civilization.
Mm.
But black people don't know that. They don't know who they are. And 400 years of slavery, you're just somebody that picked up from that process of slavery. If
Mm,
you go back and reconnect that umbilical cord of our history, our culture, you will begin to see the power that we have, the wisdom that we have. And most races know who we are, but we don't.
mm,
And we trapped in a spiritual system that won't let us practice who we really are. You know, I studied in the ancient Egyptian spiritual system, and
mhm,
when you look at the universe is greater than any religion. But having the knowledge of how we interact within the universe, having a knowledge of the universe, uh, it's just so much. And for me, I named my company Pyramid Construction back in 1980, and I
mhm.
purchased a book called The Great Pyramid. I didn't want to name my company after my last name, which was Washington. I wanted
Mm,
to name my company something that dealt with black and something that dealt with building, and that's when I came up with Pyramid. And I
okay.
brought this book. Uh, Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought, and then I'll
I,
jump in.
I brought this book called The Great Pyramid,
Mhm.
and the rest is just history. I started studying the math and science of it, started studying spiritual systems, and it really, my ancestors really brought me in, and I've been following them ever since.
Okay. Let me pause. I see a few folks that have joined us. Christy Chapman, who's here in Tally, thank you for being here. Mr. Ozzy Daniel in Virginia Beach, Virginia, thank you for being here. Brother John White, who is in Jacksonville. So, those of you who are just joining us, we are talking about the Black soul, Black consciousness. Brother Weser Khufu is on, and he is here in Tallahassee. He's a contractor. He is the owner of the Hole, which is a great meeting place. It's about eight acres or so on the south side of town, and he has been doing some messages on the radio around the Black community, around elections, around several different messages. And so it has been quite intriguing and captivating. He has this booklet that he has written, The Black Soul, Hidden Power, Truth, Light, and Fire. um, I, I see a few other folks who have chimed in or have had comments. John said, we have untreated PTSD from slavery to now. All right. So untreated post-traumatic stress disorder. I would agree with that. Marlene Mance, who was joining us, thank you for being here. She said 400 years is so hard to wrap my mind around. Yes, but it is a reality. And we also have Shantivia who is on with us. Thank you for joining us. She's here in Tallahassee. So, all right. So you talked about our souls being captivated or captive, right? Not being free. So, what would your recommendation be for us freeing our souls?
Okay, first of all, I'm a builder, and
Mhm,
we don't know the blueprint of man. We know the blueprint of houses, cars, just about it. But what's the blueprint of man? And that is where you're going to start growing, where your growth is going to, when you start asking questions. And the blueprint of man really come out of our relationship to the universe.
mhm,
I studied in Egyptology. One of the deals that has a lot to do about man's consciousness is Ma'at.
mhm,
Ma'at is she represents the seat of the heart, and she deal with truth, justice, righteousness, balance. When your day is over with on this earth, you have to go in front of her. So this is just some of the deities. I know all of them. I understand the functions, and it helped me to grow. It helped me to relate to that ancient world. And I say the ancient world. A lot of things I talk about, people might question or like think I'm on a trip somewhere or whatever. I've been living in this world for a while, and I think some of the math and science of it, the math and science of the universe, the sun, the sun, when everything circles around the sun, the fire. Uh, People just don't realize like how astrology, astronomy, how does that relate in our culture?
Mhm.
Most of the slavery mentality comes from the Christian, and I'm not knocking anybody's religion, but if you're a Christian, you can't practice some of the things I practice. You can't believe some of the things I believe. And you look at most indigenous people, the sun is very, very much important to their spiritual system. It's to
Mhm.
see the power, it's a fire. Everything circle around the sun. And we as human beings through the Western mindset think that we are the thing. Everything based on all the wisdom, consciousness, all the creation, but everything come out of the spiritual realm. Telecommunication, how you can all these faculties within us.
Mhm.
Uh, we probably using 10% of them. But when you challenge yourself, enlighten yourself, uh, just looking at the rhythm of the universe, and I talk this to a lot of people, you know, look at the moon. Every 28 days, the moon will become full.
Mhm.
Every 24 hours, we have day and night. Every 365 days, the earth makes its uh,
Rotation around
revolution
push
around the sun.
Mhm.
So it's a rhythm in the universe. It's a pulsation in the universe, and all of those rhythms affect us. These are the teachings of our ancestors.
Mhm.
These are the teachings of the ancient world, but we have no connection to it. So it's been a world that my ancestors have guided me back to. My
Mhm.
ancestors have taken. When I went to Africa, that was one of the biggest goals I wanted to do. I wanted to go back to Africa, and when
Mhm.
I went to Africa, that experience uh, played a major role in my life. And when I went there, my ancestors were waiting for me. And
Mhm.
I know people think it's crazy, but this is where I am. These are knowing that they have been there for me. I was on the courthouse back in '86. They tried to put me out of business because I spoke out. But it was my African friends that gave me spiritual enlightenment.
Mhm.
Uh, they they uh, they opened that world up to me, and I know my father used to always tell me, "You got a lot of African friends," but I learned a lot from them.
Gotcha.
And
So one of
so,
the things that you and I had talked about was some of the practical skills that maybe have been kind of lost through industrialization and through technology. And so, maybe we are a bit out of touch with some of the very things that you are talking about in terms of connecting with nature and the universe and the stars and the moon and the sun and the seasons and just how nature moves, right? And we are functioning and operating in this whole universe, solar system, and all of that. And having an understanding of that is important for our very well-being. Maybe we are depending so much on technology and this industrialized world such that we are out of touch with self.
one of the things is we have to realize that we are fire, we are energy, and we need to be grounded. We have to go back to the earth. We have to ground ourselves. And just like when we do a building, the electrician put a grounding rod in because that's the only way to keep the boxes from blowing up. It's got to be the negative have to go back to the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And just like fishing, hunting, farming,
Yeah.
uh, you have the below ground crops,
Mm,
which most of the time deal with waning moon. If you're planting root crop, the
mm,
waxing moon, most of the crops above ground. So when you plant the almanac, when you plant, the
uh,
almanac has been the Bible for people farming. Uh,
yes.
when I'm
So,
fishing,
so what you're saying, like, and only because I grow food do I know what you're talking about. But probably to the average person, this probably sounds like I don't know, rocket science or something. But it's because you grow food and you're in touch with all of that in terms of the moon and the cycles and that sort of thing. Let me pause because I see Dr. Monica Monroe has joined us. She said, I felt the same way when I vacated in Africa. It was an incredible experience. So grateful. And John, he said, Christianity it is not our religion. Our ancestors worship the nature and vibrations. John, I'm gonna get to your other point in just a moment, but he also says, talk about the Black Bible that they gave to the slaves. Mm. So I don't know if you want to address that, Brother Kufu.
well, during that time, the preacher was the one who had all the freedom, because he was the one that he could go anywhere because he was indoctrinated under the Christian faith, and he passed that on to a lot of the slaves. But
Mm,
this is the same man that told us the earth was flat. He was afraid that his ship would fall off the earth because it was flat. When you
mhm,
look at all the libraries in Egypt, they burned a lot of them. Uh, they burned a lot of the libraries. Most of the Greeks and the Romans came to Egypt to study philosophy, to study math and science. So you look 2,000, 2,500 years ago. I mean, we were building the pyramids when they were living in caves. We you don't want to put somebody down to put yourself up, but the truth is the truth.
mm,
And I say this: the slave and the slave master foundation need to be crushed and crumbled with a sledgehammer of truth, because we definitely don't know who we are. Uh, it's so much in just chipping away at all these negative forces that we're basing our future on, we're basing our children's future on.
mhm,
And they're just, the land is one of the things that really bother me. I see how much land we're losing. All these people coming in buying the black community up. The method they use to determine the value of our property. And
mm,
the main method that the bank use is comfortable sales, and the property has already been devalued. So when I sold my building to FAMU, they
mhm,
wanted to use comparable sale, but I worked in right away with DOT. That was what I worked in, and it was a thing called inverse condemnation, and it's where uh, the state put out, family had put out that they want to buy my property. It was commercial property. So when
mhm,
they put that, they put a cloud over my property, and I couldn't take a long-term lease from it. But these are just some of the methods. But I had them; they paid me for a replacement cost. But
mm,
most people don't know uh, about all the rules and regulations, what they can do to get the maximum for their money.
mhm,
And with the black community, when they buy a property, we have intangible value to it also, but they don't even take that in consideration.
mm.
Uh,
All right,
it,
good.
yeah.
Interesting point. Let me pause real quick. For those of you who are just joining us, I'm on with Brother Weser Khufu, who is a contractor, business owner here in Tallahassee. We're talking about the Black soul, Black consciousness. We have spoken about just how the Black soul is in captivity, and there's a lack of knowledge of self, and some of the challenges around that. So we have a few folks that have joined us just now. Now Valley Temple of Amen, who I believe is Sister Abeniche. She said, "Greetings, peace, and blessings, everyone. Thank you for joining us." So John had a comment. He said, "Let's discuss the measly dollars spent with Black businesses during election cycles. They're spending billions of dollars in Black media outlets, and Black businesses get less than half of 1% of the money spent."
And
Mm,
the money they're spending, most of the politicians, they're going to head to the Black church. And this is something sad to say. Many of our ministers are selling the Black vote through the back door of the church. And that's why it's some things that are going on with the CRA board, with how the churches are getting a lot of CDC money. It's already allocated to them. And an individual in business, someone who really trying to make a difference in the community, they can't get no money unless they nonprofit. And the people who have the whereabouts know about what's going on in the community. They never get the resources to do the help that our community needs.
mm,
Uh,
okay. So, John, I don't know if that kind of spoke to what your comment was, but perhaps because it seems like there are quite a few outlets that are getting those types of getting that type of advertising dollars, but I don't know. Maybe it is just half of 1%. We have Brother Solomon Battles who's joined us. He said John White, and that is why we're in the position that we're in now, worshiping everything except for the Creator Himself. Okay. All right. Cassandra Fu is on. Amen. Evening to you. Thank you for joining us, Cassandra. Appreciate you. So, Khufu, I want to talk more specifically about some of the practical skills that you and I kind of chatted about the other day that I think will help kind of flush this out a little bit more in terms of our knowledge of self. One of the things that I meant we've mentioned already is that whole connection with nature, and nature not only being the ground and the air and the birds and the trees and that sort of thing, but also again our solar system, the stars, the sun, the moon, and how those things play a role in what we how we live and how we are being. One of the things that you and I talked about is that a lot of people don't know north, south, east, and west from where they are right now, but if you knew that the sun rises on the east and sets on the west, you can tell kind of what time of day it is, and these sort of things, right?
yeah, one of the things is the study of astronomy and astrology.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Astronomy is the study of celestial bodies, movements, and alignments.
Mm-hmm.
Astrology is the study of the energy and consciousness of those alignments. So just like the full moon, you study the moon, you have a waxing moon and you have a waning moon. The waxing moon is more of aggressive. It's aggressive moon. It's where you put your thoughts into what you want to manifest to happen. It's energy in astrology. It's a knowledge of those energies. And when you get deep into the study of them, you'll start recognizing the powers of them. Like with fishing, hey, the tides, when the moon is full, when the moon is at the stream, whether it's a new moon or full moon,
Mm-hmm.
the tides are going to rise higher. The water going to pull faster. It's going to be turbulent. and it's more food to turn up, so the fish gonna bite better then.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with when fish go on bed, they have the eggs. The pressure of the moon, they always say, uh, uh, 3 days before, 3 days after, you're gonna do good with the moon. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna skip one thing while it's on my mind.
Go ahead.
The flesh, like I said, our flesh is free, but our souls are still trapped in the cages of slavery colonization. I
Mm-hmm.
say to people, I can see with our eyes, I can hear with our ears,
Mm.
and I can contact the beasts within us, within humans. And the beast is what protect you. The beast give you your power. When you live in truth and righteousness, when you fighting for the people. But in that, when I talk about seeing with our eyes, these are physical. And when you can see with our eyes, you can see the unseen. And
Mm.
that's through your soul. That's through your essence. When you can hear the unheard, when you can hear with our ears, you hear the unheard. And these are levels that if you really look at them and then just think about them, and see, that's the thing of being the think outside of the box that we've been trapped in. To
Mm.
go back and try to find some of the spirit. I watch a lot of documentaries,
Mm-hmm.
and I can you could read between the lines. Sometimes I'm not looking to hear nothing. I'm looking for my soul to relate to information, to discern, to be a discernment for me. It's the spiritual realm is a very powerful realm, and I go in and out of it because you could, if you understood it, you could open it up and travel. And I call it the ancient world. And
Mm-hmm.
that is where my blessings come from. I go in and out of it. I live within that world. So can't nobody tell me when you say I believe something, but when you when you experienced it, it removes fear. Is one of the things that really stop us from reaching our full potential. Um, the fire. See, and all these things we really start analyzing
Mm-hmm.
the truth. Truth is the light. Truth is the light enlighten you. It's knowledge. It brings you to the knowledge. Once you come into the knowledge, you gain power. You gain the ability to bring fire forward. I might not be explaining it
No,
the way it is for people to understand, but I know what it is. I know what runs through me. I
you
know what my ancestors have shown me.
you are fine, Brother Khufu. You're fine. So Solomon,
And the thing is, how did say
uh-oh.
again?
Can you hear me? So Solomon had a question. He said, how far outside of the box should we be exploring?
It's no limit. It's no limit. We it's infinitive. We'll never gain the knowledge in our lifetime. Uh, and I look at it as just like when a child is born. You're born in this realm. You're born to die. You're gonna die. You're gonna leave this realm. And in my spiritual system is to gain the knowledge in this cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So when you pass this cycle, I give you an example with I, I was reading a book, and this was when I was in college, and it was dealing with a master builder.
Mm-hmm.
First, you become a common labor. From there, you grow to be a skilled labor. From
Mm-hmm.
there, you grow to be a craftsman. From
Okay.
there, you grow to be an engineer. From there, you grow to be a scientist. From there, you grow to be a priest. And
Mm.
from there, you grow to be a God, not God, but a child of God. And you have manifested some of we call it the shallowing of the soul, the duplicate of the soul. So you've grown enough God-like that when you come into the afterlife, you're able to sustain yourself spiritually.
So essentially, you're saying there are levels. And I liken what you just described sort of as kind of like a hierarchy of sorts. Common, because we're talking about labor, common, skilled, craftsman, engineer, scientist, God.
Mhm.
Okay.
Priest, scientist, and God.
Priest,
I
scientist,
mean, scientist, priest, and God. I'm sorry. Yeah.
scientist, priest, and God. All right. You
Mhm.
see, I'm taking notes, right?
Mhm.
You see, I'm taking notes. All right. So, Sister Ebonice said that this is a time melanated people are waking up to their spiritual selves, who they are in essence, and not so much as a projection of other people's ideas or society concepts. Which I would hope that would be the case, Sister Ebonice, but ooh, it doesn't seem like that's the case in many regards. And then she also suggests, and I think this was in response to uh, Solomon's question, start with your roots in the ancestral tree, which I think is also a great place to start. But a lot of times, sometimes that connection may be broken. But try. She also said we are spiritual beings having a human experience and not the other way around. And so Brother Solomon just circle back and ask the question, God on a spiritual or physical realm?
I think for the physical realm, the flesh going to go back to the earth, but
Mm-hmm.
the spiritual realm, that's the God within us if we awaken it. And I really deal a lot with my art, which is truth, righteousness, balance, harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the laws that God gave man to live on earth. And God give us free will. You can go eat, you could go do negative things or positive things, but that final day when you have the weighing of the heart. And this is the art. She's over. She know the all seeing. She know what you've done. And when they put your deeds on the scale of my art, they take your heart because the heart is the seed of the soul, seat of the soul. So they put your heart on one side, and you have Tahuti. He read all that. He's all seeing. He's divine wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And he represents the aura around us. Like when you say, I got negative vibration from that person, I feel like something is wrong here. That's a facility of the seven spirits that make man. That deal with the making of the man. And when my art, the heart serve in duality.
Mm-hmm.
It serve in the physical realm and pumping the flesh and keeping the flesh going. In the spiritual realm, it's the seat of the soul. So when you pass and you're at judgment day, uh, my art, your heart is on the scales of justice, and one side they put your heart on the other side. After they read all that you've done, she pulled the filter out and put it on the other side of the scale. And your heart is supposed to be as light as a feather.
As light as a feather.
That all these things we talk about, but mathematically we don't understand them. And when
Mm-hmm.
you get in the realm of understanding them, you really get in the realm of will and power. That's what the Pharaoh was, a Shechem, wheel of power. We got power. And I look at the people that's supposed to be have power.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have it. They using negative power to lead us. Uh, it's so much. It's really so much that we could talk about. But the will, the will, the willpower, and we build our will by the knowledge and the wisdom, by knowing who we are, knowing the process of growing. Like I say, fear stops a lot of people from reaching their potential. And
Gotcha. So we have a few folks that have joined us. My cousin Wit in Portsmouth, Virginia. Thank you for being here. My son Jabari in Brooklyn. Hey JB, love you, miss you. Thank you for being here. And then Sister Ebonice had a comment about the body is only a vehicle in which we as spirit, sons or daughters move around on the earth. School, look at earth as a school. I just want to add to that. We are spirit beings. We do have souls and we live in these bodies. So we are not talking about religion. We are talking about spirituality, which essentially is the essence of who we are. And I think we hone in on religion and equate it to spirituality often. But that's not what we are speaking of here tonight. Okay. Sister Abeniche said, as a school, my art is what keeps the truth, order, and the balance in the microcosm heaven and the macrocosm heaven and the microcosm earth. All right. Thank you for sharing that. And then Brother Solomon said, I'm only curious about how God the Father feels about us earthlings calling or considering ourselves God.
Well, if we are created by God, we the sons, daughters of God, so we have to have God-like qualities. If we, if that's the evolution of us. You know, like when you're born, our teachings are what help us to grow in the knowledge of self. Uh, I, for me, I look at the staff, and this is something that a lot of people probably don't look at, but God gave man domain over the four corners of the universe,
Mm,
which is air, water, fire, and earth. But if your consciousness is not on the level that you have this power, you have access to this power, you're never gonna do anything. Your thought process gonna never put you in a position that you have this power to change the direction of Earth. You know, look at Hitler. Look at look at Moses. Look at these people that names you remember because whether it was good or bad, they did change the direction of civilization.
mhm.
Uh, uh,
Okay. Thank you for that. All right. Sister Abeniche, she said, yes, spirituality and religion are two different things. In the Bible, it states that we are Elohim. So we are getting close to the end of our time, but again, I want to go back to these practical skills because I feel like this is important. I feel like our young people are not getting some of the things that we may have gotten. And of course, yes, it was a different time, but still those things I think still have value, still hold true, and it still are things that we should lean towards, gravitate towards, which I think will help in building the Black soul, in building our consciousness. And so again, I'm talking about farming, cooking, sewing, building, you know, doing things with our hands and again connecting with nature in some of that. So that is also hunting and fishing and harvesting, um knowing our directions based on astrology, the sun and the moon and the stars and all of that sort of thing, right?
you know, something that like the sun, and we were called the children of the sun. But
Mhm.
nowadays, they, oh man, I'm not getting that heat. No, I ain't doing this. But you know, we have melanie, and melanie is one of the main substances that deal with the spiritual part of our being. And you know, we lost. I remember my doctor told me, he said, Khufu, you borderline with vitamin C. I said, well, I said vitamin D. I'm sorry. I said, well, I work in the sun all the time. I'm in the sun, but he told me that he say black people have melanin. Melanin block vitamin C, vitamin D, and
Mm-hmm.
vitamin D work with other vitamins, but we have to take uh, uh, substitute, take vitamin D to supplement our body.
Right.
And when you're saying that, you look at photosynthesis, you look at all these processes that help farming and stuff. The plant need light, the sun. Just imagine if the sun wasn't out there. You know, we have everything circle work with the sun, but even just the light from the sun. And
Mm-hmm.
but we I look at a lot of brothers and sisters in Africa, how they work in the sun. They never phase them. And
Mm-hmm.
we when we were working the cotton fields and all that, we were tough hearted people. But now we succumb to technology. We have succumbed to it. Even the food we eat. All this stuff is engineered. It's not like the real food. And what I look at, we're becoming more of a human robot because the food we get a full stomach, but it's not healthy. It don't have the God in us to sustain us physically and spiritually. So it is a lot involved in that building. One of the main things, the foundation. That's what I started out doing with my father. My father was a mason, and
Mm-hmm.
we would dig the foundation that we knew structurally the soil, what type of soil we in clay. It just I remember when we were kids, we always be racing to see who could dig the furthest. Some
Mm-hmm.
of the foundations were so hard we had to put a water hose to put water in the ditch and
Mm-hmm.
let it set so we could dig it. Uh, all the tools that we use, like the pickaxe, they came up with track hoe and backhoe. So
Mm-hmm.
it digs. Then when we were grading, they come up with the bulldozer. It don't dig, it slide and cut the earth. So
Mm-hmm.
all these things in math, I've always been uh, top of the line in math, and because I understand the math and science. To really understand spirituality, you got to understand math. You got to understand science. You know, when they say a first degree felony, a second degree, everything is measured in the mathematical system.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they really got with technology. But see, one of the things with technology, if something happened, a meteorite storm, something knock all these satellites out, we lost. And
Mm-hmm.
militarily, that the way before all this technology came, you had to be able to, if you were in artillery, you had to be able to see how far that plane was before how much it was traveling, how far it was going before it come, where you could put your cannon on it. What was the angle? What was the height from where that plane would be at? So all those things, they took them out of the man, out of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And we, as kids now, if you can ask them a question about fractions, multiplication, they can't do it. They count on the fingers or they go to the computer. So technology is really weakening us spiritually and physical.
Okay. Brother Quasi has joined us in Atlanta. Peace and blessings. Thank you for being here. Uh, so Solomon said, I do understand that there's a separation between religion and spirituality, but religion is very necessary in order to assist the ones who are unaware of their spirituality. It is or should be their rule and guide. I just can't see having one without the other.
Let me comment on that because religion is nothing more than an educational system to understand God creation and how to live in it, how to progress in it. So it's that some educational systems are much more enlightened than others. It's a difference in spirituality and studying to grow to understand this universe than to be indoctrinated. A lot of religions, a lot of established religions, they have indoctrinated, and just like we a cursed race, so through the Bible. We've been cursed. Black people been cursed. You know, Muslims believe you're gonna have all these virgins and this, that. All this stuff is just it's out of the bond, out of the realm of truth.
Mm.
It's somebody that's really trying to indoctrinate you to follow their way. And you don't need to be a doctor. Just live life. Just live, study nature. Anything you want to find, you find it in nature, the natural order. So, that has helped me to grow to the person I am now. And I consider myself a powerful black man and a wise black man and somebody that know how to communicate with other people.
Okay, Cassandra said okay, I say okay too. And Solomon, I will say that I do identify as Christian, but I kind of sum it I can sum it up in two words for me, and that's love and service. Like that's what it is, and that's what I think I have been called to. That's what I believe all Christians should be called to do is love and serve the people. Um Ebonice, she said agricultural knowledge, knowledge of alchemy. She said learn how to sustain crops in alternate environments due to climate change. Learn the four directions. Learn how to find water below the ground. Yes, that type of thing too. Yes, how to start a fire. Listen, learn the phase of the moon and the positions of the sun. Yes, that's what we talking about for sure. James Coleman has just joined us. He said, greetings, family. Deerfield, thank you for being here. Listen, we are at the end of our conversation, but I do want to give Khufu, I want to give you an opportunity to give some closing remarks and tell folks how they can connect with you.
I give you my address is 3030 South Adams Street. Uh, my address is the same address. It's a great pyramid, 30 degrees longitude, 30 degrees latitude. My phone number is 850-510-3692. You can reach me at Weser Khufu at yahoo.com. And I just want to thank everybody for coming in. Keep following Nicole. She has some very good messages out there and subjects that are really important for us to grow. Knowledge that we have coming from different sectors of the black community. Uh, and the bottom line is we got to love each other. That's the bottom line. We got to trust each other because it's been beaten out of us.
Indeed, it has. We indeed we do. So, I hope you all have found this conversation to be enlightening. I know it was, a lot and probably a little heavy, but definitely encouraging you to study some of what was talked about tonight and see what you can pick up, as it relates to it. Spirit, again, we are spirit beings, we have souls, we live in these bodies. So heighten that spiritual dimension of yourself. It can be done through religion, but really am encouraging us to like connect with nature, connect with the things around us that are God's creation, because that's going to really, I think, help elevate us and help us to learn more about who we are. And also what has been recommended, start with your own ancestral tree. Lean into who your parents, their parents are or were, and find out those stories, because those folks' blood runs in your veins. And there are maybe some generational things that you may not be aware of that may be affecting you right now. So, really get to know who you are, and study, 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 study. Can't say that enough. Marlene said enlightening. Quasi said, I agree that the major religions promoted among the world community represents political propaganda. And Cassandra said, for sure, true that. All right, wonderful. Again, I thank you, Khufu, for being my guest and for this conversation. Hopefully, this has demystified you a little bit to the folks that have heard you on the radio with the various messages. And hopefully we'll see more of what's going on at the whole in terms of activities. I know you have some things coming up. Earth Day will be happening in April, which Sister Camille, who was on the live earlier, and Brother Bruce, Dr. Bruce Strobel, they have that down at the hole. But I know you have some things coming up as well, correct? That you want the community to get involved in.
Yeah, we're gonna get started with District One Urban Youth Farmers Market,
Okay.
and hopefully we'll start that the first week or second week of March.
All right.
If you have a kid, you want to bring him. We have African drumming. We have. It's going to be hands on. I was talking to Nicole about most people don't. Their kids. They won't want their kids to slaughter an animal, but they eat the meat.
Mhm.
Uh, we're gonna have. We were raised up that way. We kill hogs, kill goats. Uh, Wring the neck of chickens. That's how people don't see what go on, but before that chicken get on their plate, we want them to know how to raise chicken, know how to raise goat, and we want them to have a relationship with the animals too. So when they have to take care of a goat or sheep, have to feed them, have to give them water. Uh, this just going back to nature, going back to the way it was. So
All
that's
right.
what we're trying to do.
Very good. All right. Ebony said, ground and meditate. There is power in that family tree. And Cassandra said, awesome. Thank you so much. So, again, for those of you who are new to the platform, I invite you to subscribe. We are here. Subscribe on YouTube, Conversations with Nicole. We are here Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Again, the focus is primarily on mental health and wellness in Black and Brown communities. And today we talked about the Black soul, Black consciousness, which also starts with mindset on this Mindset Monday. So definitely get your mind right. Again, study yourself, study your surroundings, and hopefully you will be better for it. Hopefully we'll see you all on Wednesday at 8:30. My guest will be Sonya B. We're talking about Are You Giving Thirsty Vibes? And I have line dance tomorrow at 7:30 at Walker Ford. So if you are free and in the Tallahassee area, please be sure to join us for that. And yeah, we'll see y'all next time. Have a good night. Peace.